Welcome to Rooted and Rising Healing. I'm your host, Hallie Roderick, and this space is for women rebuilding after betrayal. Here we make sense of what happened, find truth again, and reconnect with who you really are beyond the pain. Whether you're staying, leaving, or still in the middle, your story matters. Together, we'll explore truth, clarity, and the quiet courage it takes to rise from the wreckage of what was into the wholeness of who you're becoming. You're safe to be here. In the messy middle, in the rebuilding, and in the rising. Let's begin. If you're a woman who's discovered betrayal and feels stuck in hypervigilance, emotional exhaustion, or constantly overfunctioning, I want you to know that you're not alone. That's why I'm hosting a live women's workshop called Boundaries That Build Safety, Reclaiming Your Power After Betrayal. This is a trauma-informed space specifically for women who want to stop over-explaining, reduce emotional reactivity, and create calm, confident boundaries regardless of what's happening in the relationship. In this 90-minute workshop, you'll learn 3 internal boundaries that create emotional safety and how to regulate your nervous system so you can actually hold them with clarity and confidence. So join me Thursday, April 30th at 6 p.m. Pacific. This is a women's-only workshop, and you can register using the link in the show notes. I hope to see you there. Welcome to today's episode of the Rooted and Rising podcast. So glad that you're here. There's a question that I hear from betrayed women all the time, and it's why can't I just think my way out of this? I understand what happened. I know it wasn't my fault. I've talked about it 100 times. So why does it still hurt? Why do I still feel triggered? And why does my body still feel like it's living in the aftermath? And I wanted to start by saying this just as clearly and as compassionately as I can, because betrayal trauma is not just an emotional wound. It's a nervous system wound. So betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It breaks your sense of safety. It breaks your sense of reality. It breaks the part of you that knew what was true. And when that safety is shattered, your body responds exactly the way it was designed to respond, with hypervigilance, with intrusive thoughts, anxiety, numbness, panic, maybe the inability to relax, this constant scanning for danger. Am I safe? Am I safe? And that is not you being dramatic. That is not you being unforgiving. And that is not you failing to heal. That is your nervous system doing its job. Because trauma doesn't live only in the story. Trauma lives in the body. So one of the things that I want you to understand about betrayal trauma recovery is that you can cognitively understand what happened and still feel unsafe. You can know the facts and still feel activated. Because healing isn't just knowledge, it's not just insight. Healing is about integration. It's learning how to sit with what your body carries without abandoning yourself. It's allowing the grief to move, allowing the anger to have a voice, allowing sadness to be present, allowing fear to be witnessed. And so much of betrayal trauma is not about just getting over it. If it was that easy, we wouldn't even be sitting here on this podcast together. It's more about learning about how to be with yourself inside your body. And so, yes, talking matters. Having a skilled therapist or a skilled coach is critical. It's important. I've had many therapists and coaches of my own and still do that I love and find value, and I need to talk to them sometimes. It's critical because our pain needs language. The story deserves some space. It deserves to be heard. You deserve to be held in a safe container where you don't have to minimize or explain, but where you're just accepted and everything's okay. So talking's important. But healing is so much more than just talking, because healing doesn't happen just when we tell the story. It happens when the story is witnessed. You might have heard me talk on here about why I love the in-person events like intensives and retreats. And that's because we create that safe container where everything is okay. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be heard. And your pain is witnessed by other people who are safe. You get to borrow somebody else's nervous system that is regulated and feel what true safety actually feels like. So I love those in-person events for those opportunities to be heard and be witnessed. Because when somebody looks at you and says, that makes sense, you're not crazy. I believe you. I get it. I've been there too. You're not alone. That matters. The support matters. The community matters. Safe women matter. Recovery sisters matter. I smile when I say that because I love my recovery sisters. Because betrayal can be so isolating. And healing is a relational event. It doesn't happen in isolation. So this is another piece that I wish every betrayed woman knew, that healing isn't something you can think yourself into. Healing is something you practice yourself into. It takes action. It takes embodiment. It takes reclaiming your inner authority. It takes empowering steps forward in the directions of your values and your core identity. Not because you have to hustle your way out of pain, but because trauma can leave you feeling powerless. And healing is slow. It's this sacred process of coming back into agency. And I want to just validate something that's not fair. We didn't ask to be in this place. We didn't ask for this betrayal. We didn't ask for this pain. And I hate that part about betrayal. I hate it. And even though we didn't ask for it, it is our responsibility to do the work, to heal from it. As much as I wish our partners could do that work for us, they can't. They can do their own work and support us in our healing. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But they cannot do the work that helps us heal. And I kind of hate that. I wish they could. I wish there was just a way for them to go, and poof, you're healed now too. But I haven't figured out how to do that yet. It's our responsibility, even though it's not our fault that we're in this situation. So what does that look like? It looks like listening to your body. Paying attention. Where is the activation? Can you sense it? Can you feel it? Can you describe it? What is it telling you? What do you need when you listen to that? How do you need to use your voice? What would setting healthy boundaries look like? What does choosing things that align with you, saying no to things that you don't want to do, saying no to things that are uncomfortable for you, saying yes to things that you want to do or maybe that are hard and scary? It's stepping out of that self-abandonment and returning to yourself over and over again, checking in with your inner authority and honoring that and respecting that and following that. Remember, boundaries aren't punishments. Boundaries are self-respect in action. They are the way that you say, I belong to me. My healing matters. My voice matters. My rights matter. My life matters. So if you're listening to this and you feel exhausted, if you feel like you should be further along, if you feel frustrated that your mind understands but your body still hurts, I want you to hear this. You cannot think your way out of betrayal trauma, because betrayal trauma is not just a thought, it's an injury. And injuries require care. If we had a physical wound, it would be so much easier for ourselves and everybody outside of us to go, wow, you have a broken leg. That's going to take time to heal. That might need surgery. That might need a cast. That might need crutches or a walker for a little while or a walking boot. And it's easy to see that, and we would give ourselves the time and the space to heal. And we would take the steps that we need to address the injury. But because this is almost an invisible wound to the outside world, it can be harder to do that, which is why we have to advocate for ourselves. Because this injury requires care. It requires time, support, safety, and the slow rebuilding of trust. And not just trust with someone else, but within ourselves. So healing is not about getting back to who you were. It's about becoming someone even more rooted, more sure of yourself, even more whole, more you. And I love that part of healing. As much as I wish we could find that in a different way, this is where we are. And so we can heal and we can emerge as a stronger version of ourselves that we love even more. So remember, you don't heal betrayal trauma by thinking harder. You heal by coming home to your body, to your voice, to your boundaries, to your truth, and to your life. And you don't have to do it alone. I don't think anybody should do it alone. If you don't have support on board, check my show notes for ways to connect with me or some other resources. I'm always happy to point you in the direction of something that might be beneficial for you, whether it's something I offer or somebody else. But please don't try to walk this journey alone. Nobody should try to do that alone. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you joined me today. And I hope that you'll be back again next week. We'll see you then. Thank you for being here with me inside Rooted and Rising Healing. Remember, healing isn't a destination. It's a returning to your truth, to your voice, to the woman you were always meant to be. You have the power to rise at your own pace, in your own way. And when it feels hard, just come back to your breath and remind yourself, still I rise. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love if you shared it with another sister on the journey. And until next time, stay rooted, stay rising. You've got this.